chill.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear me?
Yes, am I coming in good?
Yeah, you good? Do you have? Are
Yeah.
we on the delay?
I don't hear one, but
Okay, I don't think so because you responded pretty quick, so I don't think so. First of all, something I always ask everybody that I meet for the very first time on my show: Where are you from? You sound like you have an accent. Where are you from?
no, I'm from San Diego.
Nice. I'm gonna tell you something real funny about San Diego. I got two of my good friends live out there, or whatever. They have content. They into like more of the weird conspiracy theory stuff, but they also big pro wrestling fans, as am I. But they live in San Diego. San Diego is the only place in California I ever want to visit because
Oh
I never
yeah.
really want to visit California. But San Diego, from everything I've seen, and just the fact that it's near the Atlantic. Sorry, not the Atlantic. The Pacific Ocean makes me want to visit there because I love water. So yeah,
Yeah,
San Diego is the only place I ever want to visit in California. Go ahead.
yeah, that's what I love about it. I love the water. So
Yeah. Do you know where I'm
yeah.
from?
Let me guess.
Midwest.
Hey, I was just say, give me a hint. Okay, Midwest.
Midwest. Biggest city in the Midwest.
That's not. Give
What's
me a
that?
few more. Give me more. Give me first letter. Give me something.
C. We the third biggest country, a city in the nation.
Chicago. You said city.
Yeah, I think you just said the last thing you said before you said city.
Chicago.
Yes, I'm from Chicago.
All right, all right.
I try to
Chi-town.
give it away with
Okay.
my sports hats. I wear Blackhawks, which is our hockey team, or the Bulls. You know, the Chicago Bulls. I always wear my hats. I'm sorry. What did you just ask me?
I said Chi-town, right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. I was there for like a second when I went to Michigan last year.
Okay, I was just in Michigan for the very first time like 2 weeks ago. I've been in the
Oh yeah.
Midwest my whole. I've never been. I lived in Iowa for 3 years because I went to college. I went to the University of Iowa, so I lived there for 3 years. But Chicago was where I pretty much. I'd never been to Michigan. I've been to anywhere, everywhere in Indiana. I've been to Wisconsin. I've been to Milwaukee. I've been to Iowa, and I've been to Tennessee. I've never been to Michigan and Ohio. I've never been to Ohio either. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been to Tennessee. I haven't been to too many places, but I've been to Tennessee and Vegas, but that's not anything.
Knoxville is beautiful. That's the only place I've been, but it's beautiful. I love the rolling hills, and I'm a very nature person, so it's so green and beautiful in Knoxville, or whatever.
Yeah.
And everybody got hospitality down. Of course, it's racism like anywhere else, but they have a lot of hospitality. It's some great people. Everybody speak to you. You be in Walmart, hey there, everybody. Like it's just and that's a culture shock because I'm so used to abrasion in Chicago. Unless you live in your neighborhood, it's a lot. Chicago is very neighborhood heavy, which is why we have the crime that you see on the news. A lot of it is exaggerated, but some of it's true. Chicago was always it's a very neighborhood based city. So everywhere you go, it's a different kind of. That's why we got so much good food too, because it's so many different cultures here. But it's also everybody kind of like it's changing because of the times we in, but it's still there. Like you go to certain areas, you feel like you out of place, or okay, let me buy what I'm gonna go and get going, or whatever. Because it's a lot of just ignorance still here that still exists here, unfortunately, or whatever.
Yeah.
But real quickly before we get deep into this topic, I just want to ask you, what's your platform? I see you sometimes, but it's kind of like sparingly. I'm always working on here, so if I get a second to check somebody's stuff, I'm always lucky or whatever. But I definitely want to bring more female perspective and balance to my podcast. So, what is it that you do on your show?
Well, I have several shows and radio shows, but my main show is podcast is Voices of Courage.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this season is Know Your Purpose. So on my show, I have like over 500 and something episodes, but
Nice.
I have different types of guests, and then I do some solos, but different types of guests from maybe a celebrity, a doctor, a life coach. But the theme of my show is basically to have a platform where people, it basically explains it in the title. You come and you have the courage, because this takes courage. Many people think it's easy, but to expose and put yourself out there,
Mm-hmm.
in front of many people is could be very very stressful sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I have a platform where people can come and use their voice. And with my show, I do my best to highlight and to promote and put that extra oomph behind whoever's the guest, and
Sure.
show them in a very positive and powerful light, whatever the message may be. It could be
Sure.
whatever, but it's the fact that it's a place where voices can be heard and that they matter and it can make change.
That's awesome. That's absolutely. Now, did you go to school? Are you a journalist or something? Are you a formally trained journalist or something like that?
No, when I was in high school, I was like in journalism. 'Cause I've always been into like media and like stuff, just entertainment and all that. So I was in journalism for a little bit, and then in college I did a slight bit, but I never was like into it. So I don't have any journalism skills or anything. I just
Did you go
have
to college or
random
are you have
skills.
you? I'm sorry. Say the last thing you said. I'm sorry.
I said I don't have any of those kind of skills. I just have brandy skills. I don't have
Nice.
journalistic skills.
Did you go to school for business?
Yeah, I did. I went for medical. I didn't go to a university though. I graduated medical assistant, and then I went to school. I wanted to go for criminal justice, but I ended up going for business, which turned out to be a better choice for me. So I did take some business,
Sure.
and yeah.
You need some business. Are you into real estate? If not, you should be.
No, but I have my partner. He has started, and I've always wanted to, like in the back of my head. I've like, because we were like dipping and dabbing with investing and
Sure.
stocks and stuff, but real estate always been like, I just see myself as being a really good. I feel like I have, I could see
Yeah.
myself.
You definitely had a positivity for it. So that's good. You
Thank
know
you.
what? Real estate should be secondary. Become a home inspector first. That's where the money's at. Because real estate is very client heavy, and with all after you pay for all your licenses and all that type of stuff, your liability stuff, you're gonna
Hmm.
be in minus money unless you already come into the door with clients. You already gonna be minus like 3 grand because you got to have all your legal stuff even to practice. So home inspectors get paid per job, and it varies market to market. Would you live in an expensive ass California? I would imagine each inspection will be like between $800 and $1,000 because here is like 600. But my market
Yeah,
is not as expensive as California, so you get paid, let's say, between $700-800 per inspection. So you inspect the house, the real estate company hires you to inspect the house, and you're the final say if the house can even be even talked about being sold, because obviously it has to be in condition to be sold. So
yeah,
I would say home inspector and then real estate is secondary because that's what I'm doing, because that's a good passive source of income, which is something that a lot of Americans don't have. Which is why I even like to do shows like this, because a lot of people are not even aware on how much having a portfolio or having real estate in your portfolio, how important it is, especially if you're not like a doctor or engineer, something where you pretty much out the gate making 6 figures or pretty close to it. You need to
yeah,
have some type of passive income if you want to have any source of wealth when you
yeah.
retire. Other than that, you'll be basically living paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean?
Definitely, because I was teaching, and the pandemic put a damper in that. I had
Mm-hmm.
taught so long that I was able to start my retirement, and
Sure.
had to pull that out after they didn't bring people back. So I was kind of
Yeah.
disappointed that because I wanted that money to do what it did, you
Sure.
know.
I hear you.
But
Yeah. And I used to be, it's funny that you said, because I used to be a teacher. So I only can
oh yeah,
imagine. I would think that California's teacher system is pretty similar to Chicago's because it's two large cities. Or I should say San Diego. California's a state. But how was the teaching there? Was it, what was your ratio student per teacher? Because it's wild here. It's like one teacher for 30 students, which is absolutely ludicrous. But what is it there?
uh, ours was pretty cool because we were I worked at two different charter schools,
Mhm.
majority black. We had other students, but it was like both principals, black principals.
Sure.
And we had let's see, there were some combination classes, but I would say the most one teacher would have with those combo classes is probably, I'm gonna say a good 20 something, you
Sure.
know. But it seemed to be fairly okay because the two principals, the principal and vice principal, they were also teachers too. So
Okay. That's
yeah,
cool. And
yeah,
it's a lot of those type of more open-minded communal based schools. Now we have a lot of those here in Chicago. Charter. I worked at a private, I prefer private schools because at my eventually I want to own a private school or whatever,
mm,
because I feel like public schools are, they don't really expose you to real, like the knowledge of real wealth. Like we don't have no type of real estate classes in like school. Like you generally got to
yeah,
go to a private school to learn. You know what I mean? You if what if
yeah,
you want, what if a kid wants to be a pilot or a sea
yeah,
captain?
yeah,
You should be
yeah.
able to learn all that. You know what I mean? Go
I was
ahead. Go
just
ahead.
talking about that the other day. Like education has no, they don't teach people what they would want to do, or like something that of interest. It's kind of like I tell people, it's kind of like you're just being programmed to do as the system wants you, whatever
Yeah,
they decide they want you to learn, and then eventually if you want to do those things like become brain surgeon or something, you got to go pay a
yeah,
lot of money, to go to those schools. But like in regular, like in, like K through 12 or whatever, they even took out like stuff like home ec and all that stuff, and through
yeah.
K through
Trades.
12 they don't teach you nothing. Like,
Yeah,
you would think that you would teach kids about their body parts, like their brain. I mean, since they are
yeah,
using it, and that would have
yeah.
really triggered something in them to
Sure.
know how much that this in their head does so much. I know my students would have really taken that in, and probably saw themselves and education in a whole different light. They'll learn
Yeah,
about money, teach them the power to this, to that, but they can't count, and just count certain things. I'm just like, what are we doing
yeah.
here?
It's so political. Like the
Hmm.
education system is really like if they don't want like a certain group of people to have information to something, any minority, they don't want them to have it. They just to cut you off from it. You know what I mean? Like they'd just be like, oh yeah, like you live in a community that's predisposed to a lot of what they call ADHD and
Yeah,
behavioral problems. You would
yeah, a
think they
lot of
would try
that.
to teach you about that, but now they want to give you a prescription to put you on, which messes up your
Yeah,
brain. Like if you over prescribing medicine is bad. Like especially like it was like at one point the FDA, I believe in like it was going into the 2010s, real early 2010s. I want to say 2009 or something. The FDA was coming out with information. It was a document called Codex Alimentarius, and they were basically talking about how it was pharmaceutical companies signing off on medication for children that was designed for 30-year-olds. So people don't realize how much that could change the chemical
yep.
process in your brain, which leads to what? Mood swings. Next thing you know, they shot somebody or did something crazy. This is like mental health is not taken as seriously in the black
It's
community.
not.
It's like shunned off in minority communities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. My son, he was diagnosed ADHD, and I was teaching in the schools that he was attending from like
Yeah,
kindergarten till first grade to like up to fourth until we changed schools. I was working at both schools actually while he was
yeah,
attending. But he got diagnosed ADHD, but I didn't continue with the medication. When I gave it to him, I would evaluate, and I just saw the difference, and I just didn't. Me and his dad, which I just didn't feel good about it, and I started thinking like, what did people do when they had certain issues or things that came up with their children before all this medicine stuff? I said we didn't have this, what I mean, and I
mhm,
didn't want him. I didn't want him to rely on that either. I didn't want him to
sure,
even rely on the whole ADHD theory. You know what I mean? Oh, well, I have ADHD. I'm like, yeah, but whatever that may be, you can get through it. So we didn't really talk about it that much, and we didn't. The medicine he was fine not taking. To be honest with you, what I did was I took one to see what the hell my baby was feeling like and what he was on. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
did, and I was just didn't wasn't right. I wasn't. I just took him off. I took him off, and
yeah.
and he's
Honestly,
14. He's doing well.
that's good. And I found out that uh, most children that aren't on medicine do better anyway. Like I worked at a private
Yep.
school where most of the parents weren't even for that. They was just completely against it. You know what I mean? So they function better. People don't realize how much vaccinations make you lethargic, makes you unmotivated to learn, make you know it changes your appetite. I went to school for
Yep.
so I have a minor. I minored in psychology, so I kind of learned a lot about that. I have a lot of books
We have a lot in
that I read
common.
about brain health and stuff like that. What's that? I'm sorry. What's that?
So we have a lot in common because I do a
Yeah,
lot of like reading and psychology and all that
yeah,
stuff and how we think and all that stuff. And yeah,
cool.
okay.
Yeah, we gonna be cool. You know what? I always tell people this: if you don't know me and if you just randomly stop my video for a second and you catch me in one of my heated moments when I'm speaking, you will probably think I'm a terrible person. But when people actually talk to me, they see that I'm cool. Because a lot of women I've had to go to and tell them like, I hope I didn't offend you, or I hope this or that and that. Because I got the win. I keep my ear to the street, so to speak. I got wind that people thought I was sexist. So I had to clear that up. Like first of all, I'm my dad's people are Nigerian. That's against our culture to even be sexist. Contrary to popular belief, Nigerian men are not sexist. That's a bit. I always hear that people be like, "Oh, they so sex." Of course, are some of them? Yes, but that's a general consensus that Nigerian men are control. No, it's part of our culture to uplift women. Like we're one of the few cultures that actually like see women as equals. You study European culture, Asian culture, Middle Eastern culture, especially. They view women as secondary. Like African culture is not like that. We've always viewed women as equals. You know what I mean? Like look at even if you read stories about Queen Nzinga, she was literally like she ran a whole country by
Yeah.
herself. She ran Angola herself. You know what I mean? They're one of the richest women in Africa. Richest women in the world right now is an African woman. You know, so that I just wanted to clear that I'm not saying people think that for whatever reason, but that's why I like to have these discussions with people. But before we
Yeah,
get
that's
too
how
off
you
topic, and there's so much I want to ask you before I get you off today or whatever. I'm a
two
first of all,
extra.
oh yeah, this is the two extra. Oh yeah, I love him. I
Yeah, ask
always try
away.
to
Anything
guess
you want to know.
people, huh?
I said anything you want to know, ask away.
Okay. I try to guess people's zodiacs. So let me try to guess yours because I'm into astrology really heavy. You have a very either one of the two. You either air or fire sign. You have a very Libra vibe to you. Are you a Libra? No.
Mm-mm,
Okay. Second one, Leo.
uh-uh.
You're not a Leo? Oh, okay. I'll give. I
My
know.
mother was.
Okay. Uh, hmm. You a water
One of the
sign?
coolest signs ever. No, I
Or
am
Taurus?
fire.
You a fire
Uh,
sign?
I think so. Fire. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fire. I think it's fire.
Sagittarius,
Close.
Aries. Them the only. That's the three fire signs: Leo, Aries, Sagittarius.
So I might Earth. I thought I was fire.
No.
No, I'm not water because I love water and I was mad
So
that I
air
wasn't.
then.
Uh, you need me to you gonna go through the whole list.
You gonna have
I
to
might
just
as
tell me. You gotta just say.
well. A Capricorn.
You a cap? Oh, I love caps. Caps are awesome. Two extra a cap too. This is two extra Capricorn too. Yeah, I love caps are cool. I like caps. Yeah, I'm a Cancer sun, so I get along with them. I got a lot of Leo on my chart, but I'm a Cancer sun sign. My birthday actually Thursday, but
Okay, I
yeah,
was about to say it's coming up then around because my cousin's Cancer.
Cancer. Yep, mine July 1st. Now, Tony, she's not a Gemini, Scorpio, and I'm glad she's not no Gemini. That's a whole
Ooh,
nother.
Gemini.
That's a whole nother story for a whole nother. My mom a Gemini. I
Yep.
don't vibe well with them at all.
I call him Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yes, that's exactly what they are. In a nutshell, that's basically what they are. Just wanted to give her the flow for the floor. Hey, wow. I'm sorry, I was
Nonsensical
typing something to it.
supporter.
I see somebody in YouTube really wants some attention here. First they said monkey lives matter, then they said black
Wow.
crown. Bro, you must don't know me well at all. You will get ignored. I ain't even gonna pay attention to you. You know what I mean? I'm not even. It's because I don't even get that type of vibe to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't even pay attention to it. But let's try to get some semblance of it to the topic before I ask you just random questions.
okay.
Now that we broke the ice or whatever. So you will have a lot more privy to Asians connections than me because you live in the West Coast and Asians are very prolific in the West Coast. So are you seeing all of this Asian hate, black hate stuff? Are you seeing the like actual like conflict? Like have you seen fights? Have you went into like a beauty supply store and seeing the Asian owners dragging the black girls out or any of that type of stuff?
No, not at all. Actually, when it all began, I had actually had to go. I think it's how many times I don't even know, can't even tell you how many times I've actually really been in a beauty shop since this incident,
Pandemic.
since this whole occurrence, yet or even this the whole Asian like hate thing. I think like one time, and it was a place that I regularly go, and knowing what I know, I was just filling out the vibe. Like it seemed the person seemed to be okay. I almost like for a second, because that person was always so kind and informative. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I was tripping. I was like, when did we start having problems? And I don't know, but he acted the same, but there's this part of me that where I can kind of like sense when people like some kind of a feeling, and he could have been wondering because what he's heard too. I almost stopped and asked him for a minute, like, what's going on? Like, what's
Right.
this about? But I didn't. I just carried on. But I haven't seen it out here.
Okay.
I'm where I live at right now. Also, I'm in a very diverse community where I reside at. We have Asians, Hispanics, Somalians. My neighbors are African. That's why I like it. And you know, We have a busy area where we have a farmers market, we have nail salons, barber shops, coffee shops, and all that stuff. And I've
Mm,
always gotten my eyebrows done, you know, by Asian people. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Or
and I get my
when
feet
I
done, but
right,
yeah,
but so it's like I've always had good rapport
yeah,
with them. So I haven't seen anything like that. But being said that, I haven't like been back out into the world, like going here, going here, there. I've
yeah,
been at home in my area.
yeah. So I think a lot of it's exaggerated. I think it's more of a
Yeah,
media ploy, and they
yeah,
trying to really. And I find it interesting that they put blacks versus Asians, because like we're so diametrically like separated from each other. Like I feel like we've never in like we've had issues with Latinos, we had issues with whites, we've had
right,
issues with Arabs. Asian, we don't cross paths with Asians a whole lot unless we doing like just point to point business with them. Like we
right,
usually don't. Man, maybe in Africa it's a little different because I know Nigeria is getting a lot of support and all type of exchanges with China. Maybe it's a little different. I haven't been there, so I don't know. But I think a lot of it is the media just like, okay, who can we get to go against each other this week? Or because like I feel like we had conflict with Asians, we would have been like killing each other a long time. How long they been in our neighborhoods? You know what I mean? They've been in our neighborhoods since like the
yeah,
70s. Like
yeah,
we literally had no issues with them. So that's to me a lot of this. And like I said, I go get my feet done. I get massages at Asian parlors and stuff like this is all new to me. Like I didn't even know this
me
was
too.
going on because I went to a Asian shop one day and it said "Stop Asian Hate" on the door, and I'm looking like, okay, this must be back some in China or something. Like, what are they talking? I didn't think none of it because I didn't directly see anything. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
every other day I get on here, either somebody talking about it, or I wake up and just scroll through my Twitter in the morning just to get my brain going, and I'm seeing all this stuff about F this person and all that, and they Asian, go back. I'm like, what? Where's all this coming? So I was like, okay, I got to do a show on this. And I
Yeah,
don't know if you know who Charleston. I think his name Charleston White or something. He's a Southern dude. He do little YouTube videos sometimes. He just was like flagrantly disrespecting Asian people. And I had
right.
briefly got on somebody's broadcast that was they were a pretty toxic person. I just leave it at that. So I just got off quick. And unfortunately, they from Sacramento, so they from California where you at. But
Damn.
claim to be for black people, but no, he's self. I know a self centered or self um like a person that's in for themselves. I know when I see one. You know what I mean? I know
Yeah.
a person that has ulterior motives when I see, and that's what he is, based off research that I did on him. You know what I mean? You know who you are too. I don't even got to go into all that, bro. You know exactly who you are. So I had to, you know what I mean? It was what it was, but I don't even associate myself with people like that. But to
I
me,
feel
even putting that type of energy out says a lot about you. You know what I mean? Like when you out here purposely promoting violence between people, like that shows that to me that you're a low energy person, bro. You need to take some CBD or something. I'll just say that. You know what I mean? Or something. Take a hit of a blunt or something. I've never been a
right.
weed person. It's not my thing. I do take CBD though. I love CBD. But I'm sorry. Were you going to say something?
No. Oh no, I was agreeing with you when you the whole Asian thing came about, because I remember I was sitting there one day and I was just like, when did we start hating the Asians? I really asked that out loud. I was like, when did this happen? And I start thinking, I was like, what the hell? And then I paid attention to. Oh, now it wants to freeze up. Can you
I'm
hear
sorry.
me?
No, that was me. I tried to click on this full
Oh,
avatar from YouTube to mute him, but it for some reason redirected the video. Hap's been tweaking since yesterday. But go ahead. What you're saying? I'm sorry.
it always tweak on me. Am I moving around? Because on my side, I'm not.
Yeah, you moving around. I can see you on my
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that was like really pondering me, because I'm like, I've always like, and I wasn't even trying to be like funny, like when people be like, I have white black friends. I'm like, I thought I love people. You know what I mean?
Right.
I have Asian friends and people, you know what I mean? I have Japanese friends, and that my 42 years on this planet, that has not ever been an issue. So that was
Brandy.
concerning. And then when I watch the news, I'm like, that's some bullshit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? How they hype that stuff up. Some look
Yeah.
over exaggerated, and some look like isolated incidents that they try to
Hmm.
use that to highlight that now we out here just, when has anybody known us just be running out here being violent to being
Sure.
racist?
Yeah. A couple things real quick, Brandy. Uh,
Yes.
Tony saying he can't hear you, so I don't know if you have headphones or you can turn your phone up a little bit, but
Oh,
you
go
got
ahead,
people in the
Tony.
comments and they can hear you. Yeah. Did
Better.
I can hear you just fine, Tony. Can you hear her though? I can hear you fine, but that's because like my acoustics are pretty good. Um, Mr. Two Extra said multicultural friends I have. Yeah, and that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, and I honestly think it is. It's a lot of black people that are more Pan African, where they've had different experiences. Generally, older blacks that have had more traumatizing experiences with non-black people. That they don't generally hang around out with non-black people, but they also don't actively go out their way to try to like harm other people. They just coexist within their their little think tank or whatever, and I'm cool with that too. Is so either way, like even if it's like I think a lot of this stuff, it's so many like misconceptions about blacks that other people have. When they get around us, they'd be like, "Oh, we thought y'all was like all y'all was ghetto and y'all were all loud and boisterous." And they get around us, we was like, "No, dude, like we all like black people are like we're like the hippiest people on the planet ever. Like whenever like we're cool. Like
Right.
we
Exactly.
don't want none, don't ask for none type. You know what I mean? Like now, if we need to take it
Exactly,
there, that's a
bro.
whole nother story. But like
Exactly.
a
So
second thing I
true.
wanted to hit to just address you. Did you say you was 42?
Yes.
You do not look 42.
Thank you.
You look
Yeah.
22. 42. Wow, y'all. Brandy is
Black don't crack.
looking
I don't
young.
know.
It don't crack at all, obviously. But thank Brandy for being here. What my sound effects are? Here we go. Thank you,
Thank
Brandy.
you.
We just got to give you some sound effects. Now, I will say some of the Asian stuff that I've dealt with, but a lot of it is also based off ignorance and misinformation. I have great Asian friends in several different states, but um, a lot of the localized Asian hate that's here in Chicago is just based off misinformation. Like when you can feel like when you go in a store or something, like they got markets here that I like certain food that they got that I actually like. I love Asian food in general because I'm a big rice and hibachi person, but um you'll go into a spot and they'll follow you around the store and they automatically expect you to be like Lote Dog from Minister Society. Like
Sorry.
they expect us to be like that. And when they find out that it, because I'm very urban dressed, I wear hoodies, I wear hats, like I wear chains, like I'm very urban looking. But when people hear me speak, they was like, "Oh, you actually articulate," because I look lot younger than I appear. You know what I mean? Like I'm almost 30. People think I'm like 22. So like they automatically put me in that box that I'm ghetto or he gonna cause problems or they gotta follow me around the store. And then it's been times where, and this is why I think I work in law enforcement too, but I've diffused situations just from like turning around. Even like when I could have or I probably should have reacted hostile, I was like really cool. And they were surprised. Like they was taken aback that I was like cool. Like they'd follow me around the store and I was like, I turn around and was like, it is everything okay type thing or something like that. Like I'll be real cool about it, and then they'll just be taken aback and they'll try to like make up an excuse like, oh, I was just fixing this. No, I know you were trying to follow me around the store, but I'm not gonna be ignorant. You know what I mean? I'm the type of person I believe you get it. You get the energy that you give off. I'm very perceptive of I believe in what they call law of attraction.
Yeah, me too.
So I've experienced it, and I think it's a lot more aggressive with black men. A lot of the Asian like dislike is for black men, and I'm looking like, bro, bro. I don't know why. I would love to switch roles. With you. I love being black. Let me just make it clear. I don't know if that's obvious, but I love being black. I always laugh at people that have this irrational dislike or jealousy of black men, and I'll be like, dude, I wish we could switch salaries for one night. I was literally looking up because I'm doing a video on this later. I was looking up the wage gap disparity, firstly based off women versus men, and then
Mhm.
as I was going through that, I went down a whole rabbit hole of if you're a black man, you make worse than everybody else. If you're a Asian, you make more than everybody. It was like so many different, and I was like, Asian guy, my guy, you make for every dollar a white man makes, you make $1.15. So you're doing better than white people. A lot of people don't know that Asians are doing well. Like last time I checked their unemployment, it was like 4%, like globally. That is absolutely insane. 4% global unemployment. Like black
That's
people's
crazy.
globally is probably like 40. They don't tell you that. You know, it's like 40. It's 35% in the United States. It has been for like 30 or 40 years. It's just we're not seeing this priority, so people don't talk about that. Like, and isn't it ironic, Brandy, that when the unemployment reached 25% in 1929, they call that the Great Depression. So if black people's hovers between 34 and 40%, what do you call that if 25% is the Great Depression? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much of this stuff that people don't know that they automatically get angry. And I wish you was black. No, why would you want to be inherit food stamps and inherit poverty? That's the reality of being black. You know what I mean? Happen to work twice as hard for the same job that everybody else doing.
Yeah.
Do you really? People don't, when they see what it's like to be black, you don't want to be black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Paul Mooney said it the best. Everybody want to be a nigga until they want to be a nigga. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be black.
They don't want the problems. They want everything, but then they
Right.
don't want to deal with the
The
problems that
stress.
come. Yeah.
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 I call them weekend people. I call them weekend niggas. That's what I call them. Like, everybody want to be black on the weekend. During the week when it's time to get back to the grind, no nobody want to be black no more. You know what I mean?
Right.
They
That's
used to
crazy.
follow me until I grew my beard and I was more friendly in the store, just saying hello, open the doors for all female. I definitely can see that too. Actually, you a Southern guy, so you got that Southern hospitality anyway from Virginia. So Southern people are different. I love Southern people. Or they just got a different demeanor to them. My demeanor set the tone. Yeah, I'm glad you said something about the beard, and this is something I'm gonna ask you, bro. Are you married? Hello?
You talking to me or Mr. Two Extra?
No,
Oh,
you,
me?
Brandon. Yeah,
Oh,
you. Are you married?
I'm all looking down at his name. No, I'm not. Not married.
Okay, because I was gonna ask you if you had a husband, because this is Mr. Two Extra brought up an interesting point about beards. A lot of non-black people are intimidated by black, like, assertiveness and beauty. Like, that's why they put so much pressure on black women with cosmetic products and hair. I love women with your type of features. You have very African-like features. Like, I'm and some women feel insecure when I don't like my lips being too big, or I don't like my cheekbone. I love African-looking
I
women.
love my lips.
So, and you got the braids too. So with us, with black men, our sense of cultural pride comes from our facial hair, or if our hair is locked. Like, my hair is sponge. Mostly, it's not sponge now because I just haven't sponged yet. But my hair is usually sponge, and I keep my beard out. I work in law enforcement. A lot of private security places I work for always try to say, "Oh, you got to shave your beard." And when I say why, they always say, "Well, that's unprofessional." But I'll see a white supervisor with a beard. I was like, just say you don't want black people to have a beard. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you what you really trying to say, would not say it. So I always tell them I'm religious. I'm like, I'm a Muslim. I'm not cutting my beard. Or it's against my culture to cut my beard. But they always, like, they feel the need to try to always, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, uh keep us in our place, so to speak. They want us to look. It's an intimidation about black men that look masculine, and beards is part of our culture. And a lot of people don't know. Going back to African, really Islamic culture, the reason men wore beards is because a lot, if you from a distance, you couldn't tell a man from what, because they all covered up. A lot of them that really practice, they covered. So you can't tell a man from a woman unless you see the beard. So that's why men wore beards. But now it's a sense of pride with Afrocentric culture. That's why people really wear. But I just like a beard. But I know a lot of people wear it because it's a sense of pride. But they always try to oppress. Like, just think of, people don't even think of, like, the origin of dreadlock. Now, you know, African people didn't come up with that name. Like, come on, dreadlocks. We just call them locks. That's some hatred type stuff. People don't even know what the word dreadful even means? Do you know what dreadful means? Like, it's a negative connotation of dreadful. Don't call my hair dreadlocks. My hair are locks, not dreadlocks. There's nothing dreadful about my hair. You know what I mean?
People don't pay attention to the words, the wording behind stuff.
Yes. Contract, all these wild, like when they say, why does everything, you ever noticed everything with the word black in the West, in Western culture is negative? Dark, bad, evil. It's all linked to the word black. But when you say white, it's the opposite. But when you go in the East, it's the complete black is good. Even the chefs in the kitchens wear black in China, and it's a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
We live in this very Western culture where this is absolute nonsense. You know,
Yeah.
other than Germans and a lot of Jewish people who really respect, like, I had a German roommate when I was in college. His name is Daniel Meyer. I love him to death. He opened my eyes to how liberal Germany actually is, and a lot of people don't know it. A lot of the statues and deities in Germany are black people. They don't tell you. I knew about it from just doing research and watching Hidden Colors and studying what's his name, Renoko Rashidi. I studied a lot of him. He's from California too, by the way. I think he's from Oakland. But I've learned a lot from him, and a lot of saint this and saint that, they were black people with curly hair. Like, and a lot of people don't know this because they have us thinking that German people are all bad, or a lot of them are bad, and they don't respect no other culture. And he was like, no, we've been, you know, honoring black people for a long time because they know what the Moors really did to their culture. A lot of people,
Hmm.
like, for all these white people, and for the guy that's really trying to get our attention in the comments, said, I got some homework for you because you're probably white. If you're not, still, I got homework for you. Go study Europe in the origin of 7-Eleven. Why? In which the company, the convenience store, or what people on the East Coast call a bodega, the store 7-Eleven is based off the premise of the oh thank heaven 7-Eleven. Go do your research and tell me what you learned about that. Moorish or black people, because black Moorish means black. If you look the word, do you remember that movie Brandy with Martin Lawrence called Black Knight?
Yep.
What did they
Yep.
call him on that movie?
I don't remember. I just
They
remember
kept
him. That's a comedy, right?
they kept calling him Blackamore because they
Mm.
knew they know what it really meant. They tried to make it seem like it was a comedy, but they were saying that's why it was a medieval settings. They knew the Moors civilized Europe. Like we brought irrigation. They didn't have rice, clean rice up there. They didn't know how to make disinfectant. The Moors took that up. We taught them how to corral their animals because a lot of people don't know kings and queens in Europe, the white ones lived in barns. Like they didn't know how to corral their animals properly. And the Moors taught them like you cannot live with animals. Like that's how you get disease. That's what ding ding ding. What the word chicken pox come from? What do you think that comes from? That's a disease.
Yep.
Or measles, which came from Germany. Yellow fever, all this stuff that came from Europe that they got from being very unsanitary. That we taught them and they stole a lot of credit for. They don't tell you about our influence with math and all that. They don't say most kids don't even know who Mansa Musa is, which is
Right.
insane. He was the richest man in the world. He was a trillionaire at one point. He was
Yeah.
giving gold out, traveling through Mecca, everywhere, just giving money. He had so much, he gave it away. So they don't tell you a lot of this stuff. So a lot this it contributes to a lot of the hate towards
Yeah.
black people because they don't think we
Yep.
contributed nothing. I get into it with all
Exactly.
these foolish people all the time, and a lot of them unfortunately are white. I don't like to make it sound like I'm singing out white people, but it is what it is. These
Yeah.
foolish people really think we contributed. I had so many people. I get into battles, especially with the height of this police brutality stuff, where it'll be idiots on Instagram posts telling me, if you don't like America, go back to where you came from. Go back to Africa. And I'm thinking, like, first of all, if black people, first of all, with all the inventions that we came up with, like 85% of American inventions, black people created, and we didn't get a credit for it because we was labeled slaves. So if we were to take everything back that we created and go back to Africa, as you say, what would you even
Nothing.
have? Go ahead, Brent.
That they'd have nothing. But yeah, yeah, I was agreeing with you on especially with with the history and all the stuff that we don't know
Yeah,
and contributing to like the hate and the ignorance because even now they're still trying to limit what is taught in schools and they want
yeah,
to micromanage that and so they can just perpetuate the whole they were slaves and that was it.
yeah,
So kids don't even know how much more like we didn't like I didn't know a lot of things. So I went out and sought the information myself and
yeah.
found out how awesome we were. And but yeah, and as far as like how you said with Germany, how where you lived, it was an impact on how probably on you didn't know that those things until you talked to somebody from there. And I
Mhm.
had a friend we got very close. He was from Jordan. I didn't even know whether it was Jordan. You know what I mean? But through
Yeah,
him, he moved here at a young age. We shared stories and we talked about like he told me from on an outside perspective like how people because he's very cultured and
yeah,
Turkey and like all these different countries and he said told us how they thought and saw United States of America versus how I saw it. We were kind of like taught that you people foreigners were bad, like kind of yeah, not a good thing, like a
mhm,
threat. And he was like, so it was very refreshing to
yeah,
see how we both could shed light. And I think that's very important to do. I speak in a lot of rooms like kind of like Clubhouse. I don't do too much, but like Angle and Quilt and Voice Her, and they're from like Sweden, and I have a lot of friends from UK and from India, and we have those conversations. It's so refreshing to learn about one another through actually
Yeah.
speaking to one another instead of listening to the media and all the the rhetoric you hear, and you get
Hmm.
to to understand that it's not really what you thought it was. You know,
Yeah. And that's
and that's
why
what's
this is
very
important.
entertaining.
This is
Yeah,
the new television. Like this
right.
right here, I spend more time on this than I actually. Now I'll watch an occasional. Most TV shows make me sick because they have political agendas. I can't even watch them or whatever. I'll watch a show here and there, like if it got good drama or like a good plot to it. I'll watch certain stuff just to because you got to disconnect from reality sometimes just so you can recharge. But
Yeah, I don't even
this
watch
is
my
the real
shows.
TV now, and it's necessary. People, our ancestors say a lot, or I should say, our elders say a lot about why our generation is so messed up, and a lot of what they say is accurate. However, one thing that they disconnect, um, that they just don't add up, that they completely don't give us credit for is the fact that we've pushed the narrative of telling the truth through social media. Like you can't avoid the truth. Back then, like you had to be locked into a certain regional channel to get certain information. Or even you would have thought with Ted Turner creating CNN, which is pretty much national news, that you'll see more of reality of what actually happens unfiltered. But they got agendas too. They got certain stuff that they don't want to get out to the air. This is the real news.
Yeah,
Haps
they
might
do.
be in a couple years might be the next TV because like it allows you. You can say a lot about Haps. Oh, it freezes up. It this and that. It's still in the process, and I'm gonna do a lot to help them. I'm learning how to code so I can help them, and I've made it clear that I'll help them do whatever they need to do. But because that's what it's about. It's one thing to
Yeah,
complain. It's another thing to put boots on the ground and get some stuff done. You know what I mean? You can
that's
sit
how
there
I
and
feel.
yap all day. At the end of the day, it still need to be getting done.
Yep.
So our I think that's something our generation, our elders don't give us enough credit for. We push narrative. Now
Yeah.
sometimes it get out of control and all that type of stuff, but like we've made it where we you have to hear us now, and
Yeah.
the millennials of all colors are very responsible for it. You know, hello Helga from Amsterdam, my good friend Helga, hello or whatever. She had up some good information from the good brother Jordan Maxwell, who's on another level of intelligence. She had him up yesterday. So now, Brandon, let me ask you this: like, how much? Because I only can ask a black woman this because a black woman, both of us are black, but we still have two different lenses that we view life through. You view it through as a woman, and I view it as a man. We both black, but it's still different things, different adversities that we experience from being two different genders. So, with that said, how much would you say like being in college back when you were in college? Because you were in college when before stuff black women really start getting the respect. They start really getting respect like early 2000s. They had a lot of progress in the 2010s, but you were in college around the time where black women weren't really getting good options to you're gonna be just a nurse. You know now you can go to school and study whatever you want. So back when have you seen a big shift with how much different just college is for black women now or women in general?
Well, I didn't when I got out of school. I didn't go to college like right away. I did and dabbed out, but I started when I pursued what I wanted. You know, I graduated for I think it was medical. That was like 2010 or
Okay.
something, 2007.
I was just
2007.
graduating high school in 2010.
I make me feel old, but not 2007 is when I went and I completed, you know, because I was pregnant with my son at that time. He
Mhm.
no 2000 because he was born in '07. No wait, yeah, '07. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know if I can really answer that question there.
Okay. How
That's
about like as far as work, like in the job, would you say it's still a lot of room for improvement for black women in a particular job that you work at, or do you see that it's more people are more accepting and willing to work with you and not be as biased as far as your job goes?
um to be completely honest with you, for me, the way from my perspective and through my lenses and the way I was brought up, I never even like saw any of that because none of that ever was a roadblock for me because I always knew what I wanted, and what I wanted is what I wanted, and I went for it, and I think through with my confidence and my personality that I didn't care. I walk up in a whole room full of white people and know my and sit down just fine because I know, you know what I mean. Whatever, you know what I mean. If I'm here for something and this is what I'm gonna be,
You gonna get
and
it done.
I don't even see, yeah, I'm gonna get it done. And I never really had any type of, and if it was any type of like, I must not have picked up on it because I was too busy getting mine. So
I hear you. Yeah, I
yeah, I
hear
never
you.
looked
Yeah,
up against that. You know what I
sure.
mean? As far as still looking at it as individual and looking at the system in general, I
Hmm.
think that black women, are doing just fine. And what I think is we just need more of other. I wish it could just be women. It needs to be that too, but black women to to show that and support that, and to let the next one know, like, you can have it. It's because to me, I see us ourselves only as the roadblock to getting to where we need to go. I feel like we
Absolutely.
need to put that confidence and that support in one another and say, "Go get it." I mean, this is not going to stop you from getting there
Sure.
when you have this here and you do what you need to do here.
Hmm.
Then you can go and get it. And that's how I was raised. So that's all I really saw. And I saw to uplift that next person and let them know, no, don't hate. Congrats. You know what I mean? We can get each other. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you don't
I'll
have
help
to
you get there.
pull people down to bring yourself up, so to speak. I know what you mean. Yeah,
Exactly.
and I'm the
And
same way. I
I've
don't.
been subject to that.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine. I would imagine like that would be a lot to adjust to. Um, but yeah, I will. I just want to piggyback on one thing you said as far as black women. I think a lot. I don't think us as black people are going to move forward until black women are at peace. It's so much like just tangible like anger between black women amongst themselves. Take us men out of the equation for just a second.
Right.
It's issues there too. That's separate, but it's just so much. Like I'll go in a building because I'm very communal and I'm very like solution oriented. So I'll go somewhere, even if let's say I'm in a grocery store, for example. Let's say grocery store or like a black owned like cosmetic bookstore or something like that. I'll go into a place, and if it's like unrest and I'm at the register and I'm trying to check out, I'll go help just to see what the problem is. So A, I can get out of there because it's cutting into my time, and B, that's just how I am in general. Like I'm the type of person that try to diffuse something if I can. I'm not gonna argue with you, even if you arguing with me. Now, if something get out of hand, it's just I'm gonna have to handle whatever I got to do. But I'm very like when I go into something, I go into it like, okay, how can I help? So I'll be in the front. If I see somebody taking out their bag, I'll go up there and help them, even if I'm not getting paid. Like, bro, okay, boom, because I'm trying to get out of there. That's how I'm thinking. You know what I mean?
Right.
I have a schedule. So like, I'm thinking in terms of that. But black women, as far as interacting with each other, needs a lot of work. Let's just say that because like
Amen.
it's a lot of jealousy, unnecessary. You don't even know each other. They'll be in the place for 5 seconds and start fighting each other. Like y'all don't even have to say, "Hey, sis, I'm this or that. I'm nice to meet you. I'm Brandy. Who are you?" So we don't even they don't even do that. They'll get into a cat fight. And I don't know if it's because of the way our culture is, where black women have basically they have a smaller pool of men available. So I don't know if it's like a validation thing. It could be. I don't know. I'm not a woman, so I can't speak for that. But that's what
That's
it
true.
comes off as to me. It comes off as kind of like a validation type thing.
Mhm. I still don't even know. I'm still trying to figure that shit out.
Do you experience a lot of this where women just, for whatever reason, they just don't like, for no unnecessary, they just don't like you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very big, and I actually I have a new radio show coming soon with a Real Wise production called A Ladies Night. No, A Ladies
Okay.
Life, Ladies Life. But to really get that women getting together and just being women and supporting one another. But
Sure.
that shit is very valid. What you said is very strong, and I never understood it. It's been there since I was young, and I can honestly say it's like for me when I see it, I love to congratulate, and I'm very kind. I'm just a kind person in general. I don't care what you look like. You can have fucking things sticking out of your forehead. I don't care. You hurt me, I hurt you. But I
Yeah.
make sure I'm very kind to my black to, you know what I mean, to my black sisters, because
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's like, why not? Like we should be able to have a sisterhood just because we have, not, and people will say, oh, just because you're black. And it's like, no, but yeah, because, there's a lot going, we have some people need support, and we should be able to unite, especially if we have a whole, just against us. You know what I mean? Then we got to come together and support one another. It's about supporting one another and being able to be there for each other.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And to uplift one another. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
women, we can do that with any woman. I have no problem. Like, I love people, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, when I come across black women, uh, especially when you don't know them, I can be completely honest with you. There's this weirdness.
Yeah.
I swear, there's this weird vibe because
You know
men
what's
don't
even
know how to receive and how they. And I
mm,
know here in Cali or in San Diego, you just never know. But I was raised this way. I will always speak, or I'll say something. Or if you have a baby or something like that, I'll say something. You know what I mean? Kind, or I might be in the aisle over here, you might be over here. And then there's a lot of
yeah.
times a sister done spoke to me and or just said something funny and looked at me, we laughed, and we just was chopping it up. You know what I mean? But then you'll get that one just like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's like already like that before I even got near you. I felt the tension
Yeah.
setting in. I'm like, why is it like that? Like, you don't even know me. You'll ask
Right.
for help. Black women, you'd be like, where'd you get that outfit at? They don't want to tell you where they got you could tell them they look cute, and they'd be like, you will get that. And unless you're on your grown woman stuff, I've gotten some, people that know how to act like civilized people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of times you get those ones that just from the jump are just not feeling it at all whatsoever. You smile, they just like, I'm just like,
You know this. You
what's
know
wrong
the
with
scariest
you?
part, and I agree with everything. I've seen it. I agree with everything. But the scary part to me is the generational tension. Like, it's one thing to have tension with your peers. It's still a problem. But when you have your elder, who you probably, I would imagine that you have a lot of respect for elders. So you come off as very
Oh
traditional
yeah,
and respectful to me. So
yeah. They're not respectful no more these days.
60, 70-year-old women jealous of you, popping and rolling that. Who she did? I done heard 60 and 70-year-old women, a woman like you walk down the street that's beautiful, walk down the street. 60, 70-year-old women, who she thinks she is wearing that? Like, what? It's like, what is that to even say? Like, that's like your daughter almost. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
they supposed to view you as like a daughter, or at least a daughter figure, and they jealous of you. Like, what? Like, they should be, hey, they should be like lifting you up, not breaking you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
or
I,
like chastising black women for having natural hair or something, like, you know what I mean, or wearing African cultural stuff, like this. I don't get it, man. And I deal with a lot of, that's why, like, Two Extra and Tony are my seniors. They both like older than me. They probably at least 10, 15 years, 15, 20 years older than me. So I always show them respect. I make it clear that I respect them. Even if we disagree on points, like, I make it sound like they my elders. So I respect Tony, not really, even though I still have a hard time believing his age, but I still respect him as like an equal. You know what I mean? Like, it's no drama between me and any Edward. Like, I respect them, and I always tell them like how much they just keep me level headed. You know what I mean? And this is important. Like, we got to come together. And I got black friends, white friends. It's white people that get on my show, foreign people, all type of people. People know I show love. It's whatever. So anybody that got like a phony percent, they just don't know me that well, obviously. But they just need to talk to me. But it is a lot of, I experience tribalism. I go into a barbershop, which is where these conversations should be happening, because other than church, barbershops have always been black sanctuaries. Why do you think it's three black social movies called Barbershop with Ice Cube in it? But we'll go in there, and all they know how to talk about is sports, and that irritates me. I know how to talk about sports just like anybody else. I literally have like 2 sports show on here, so I know how to talk about sports. But it's like, when that's all we know how to talk about, it's embarrassing. And then they still, to me, like, they have this arrogance, or like, entitlement's a better word. They have this entitlement to them where they think, oh, you should respect me because I'm your elder. No, the Asians respect their elders because they left something for them to respect. They left them a legacy. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna respect you for no reason just because you're a black older man. Like, get it? It's so many of them that's like speaking negative. Why them kids in the street marching? Why they doing this? And they don't want us to progress. Like, a lot of them, like, they try to set us back, and it's just,
yeah.
I'm just turned off by a lot of that. But they be hating. I
They
get the
they
same
didn't
thing
do
you
it.
get.
Right. They didn't want to do it. So like, why they want to see? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
y'all, I'll do it. So they didn't get theirs, and they're younger. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so they don't want to see they don't want to see that younger generation to get that recognition and make
Yeah,
them feel probably insignificant. But that's like a personal problem. You should be great. You should be proud that you know what I
yeah,
mean, that they're picking up and doing better. You always want your the younger to do better than where you
yeah.
was. So
It's
that's
so toxic. You know what I mean? It's really, really toxic. And I'm not a person that really dwell on slavery because honestly, something like I just want to put behind us. Like it happened. Like I honestly don't think we're gonna get paid back for it. You know what I mean? We do need to use the money that we got to move forward and build ourselves back up because reparations not coming. If they ain't came by now, then you know what I mean. I hate to be that person, but it ain't coming. It is what it is. It's just not coming. But
let's move on.
and it was very deliberate. You know, it was very deliberate to not ever give it back to us. They literally changed the Constitution 3 times to exclude or change the status of black people. Like when you put that much effort into like a national
Yeah,
document
I
that's
feel
pretty
like
much lost in like it's you're pretty being pretty clear what you're like. A lot of people misconceive two different words. It's citizen versus denizen. A denizen is a person that's allowed to live somewhere that don't have rights. Black people are basically denizens. That's what we are. And like we just need to come to terms with like we have Stockholm syndrome. I hate to say I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. We have Stockholm syndrome.
right.
Like we just need to get over like what happened to us and move forward. You know what I mean? Like you can talk about slavery, but it shouldn't hamper you moving forward. As a
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like we have to move forward. You know, it's just too much of the people want to scream and holler about it for hours. Like, and I'm cool what you're saying. Get your frustration out. Speak truth to power. However, what's the solution? At the end of the day, I'm a very solution oriented person. When you just running in circles with an argument, that ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I mean? Like you could
Solution. Yeah.
sit there and complain all day and sit by the river and no crops is being grown. You know what I mean? So it's just we need to get
Yep.
past all it.
Yep. Because we're
Yeah.
missing out the stuff going on today. We want to live in the
Yeah.
past. I'm like, there's stuff that's happening right now that we
Yeah.
need to be focused on. Let's learn about that. Let's get that done with, and put it where it needs to be put. Teach that it wasn't right. This is what happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't. This is not how to treat people. You know what I mean? Like seriously. And
Sure.
now let's live for today because all we have is today. We don't have the past or tomorrow. That's gone. That is
Yeah.
freaking gone. I think history is supposed to be like a bookmark, and you go back and you look
Basically.
and you learn what not to do. You be like, that worked. That worked. That was good. No, we're not gonna
Okay.
do that.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what you're supposed to look at it as.
Right.
We get
Learn
stuck
about
in
yourself.
moments. You know what I mean? Like a lot of black, we're very moment based
Yeah.
people. Like we look at everything as a celebration. Like, oh, Obama was president. Yeah, it was so many other black people that did. And I'm this not to discredit him. He's an amazing man, and a lot of stuff that he did. He's a success story. It's so many other people that have done stuff that don't even have his status. It's everyday people. A lot of people don't even know who Fannie Lou Hamer was. This woman literally got beat to death for the right for people to vote in Mississippi. She was a regular lady. She wasn't Martin Luther King. She didn't have a status of all our heroes and sheroes and all that. She was a regular lady that people don't talk about. It's so many
Right.
normal people that walk. It's the lady on your block that's a retired teacher that don't have
Right.
nothing to do that can teach you everything you need to know. She's in our house bored, growing plants because you ain't even knocked on her door. I know pretty much everybody in my community. If I might not know their names, but I know them. Like I know their faces. Like my neighborhood is very communal. It's white people, black people, mostly black. We have my neighbors are Latinos. I talk to them all the time. Like it's no smoke. There's no problems with us. You know what I mean? Like our
Yeah.
alleys are clean. Either all of us take turns rotating. I'll walk the alley. Sometimes make sure stuff is safe. Make sure everything's clean. We take turns doing it. There's no smoke in my neighborhood at all. I speak to everybody. You know what I mean? So it's
And it
just
takes
like,
other people to do that. We have to do that ourselves. Like be
yeah,
the person to go to and break that ice and you know what I mean, and get to know one another and make each other feel safe. As we should, because
absolutely.
we have to live around one
Mhm.
another. And
And also another thing is like I think a lot of men need to get over. This is something men specific, and I'm gonna have to do his own show on this because it warrants his own show. Men need to get over whatever past problems they had with women in their life, be it moms, aunts, ex girlfriends. You can't take that out on the next woman because it's not her fault. And that's
right,
that's something that's very destructive in our community. We take our domestic mental problems to other relationships. That's toxic. You know what I mean? Like we got to get over it. I protect all women. I'm very, very, very like I'm a very easygoing person. It's two things that get me upset when I haven't eaten and you holding up my food.
angry.
Exactly. I get hangry. And then when I see people mistreating women. Now, some stuff women also need to check themselves on. Women need
Oh
to get
yeah.
over their problems too. But I feel like men have more authority over that because we're stronger. We're supposed to be the glue that hold the family. You know what I mean? Like women, y'all hold down the house and all that. Don't get me wrong, all the maternal stuff, y'all got that on lock. But I'm saying like men, like women only gonna act the way a man is treating her. You know, like if you act like a little boy, what you expect her to do? You know what I mean? Like she gonna, I don't need your ass type. You know what I mean? Like you acting like a boy, nut up. You know what I mean? Like act like a man. So
Yeah.
women only act. You gotta sell yourself to a woman. Like a woman not gonna just men just want to. Oh, I got a penis and I got muscles. Accept me.
Right.
Like every man got a penis and muscles. You know, or at least a penis. Like that don't mean nothing. You know how many women see unsolicited penis pics all day? You know, like that don't mean nothing to them.
At
Like you
all.
got to
That's so
bring
true.
something to the table. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna
and
ask
women,
you
same
something
thing.
too. That
Say that again.
yeah, totally. I was talking about that the other day about women and the, but I was gonna ask you when you brought that up about a total different show. If when you did that, could I come on? Because I've been wanting to address this one
Brandy,
thing that
you
I
could
think
come
I've
on
been
whenever
talking
you
about.
want. You can come on here whenever you as far as I'm concerned, a permanent part of my show if you want to get on. I've been trying to get a I've been looking for a female host for forever. Like forever. Like I don't know why they just don't want to get on. I don't know if they just, you know what, this is my philosophy. I honestly think a lot of women don't want to admit that they're wrong about certain stuff. Men have this problem too. But it's a lot of women that you seem like an open-minded woman. Like we can have a disagreement and move on without like we ain't going,
Yeah,
oh, I'm gonna block this person. You don't have that type of energy. So many women come off as defensive to me.
yeah,
And they have a right to be sometimes. But you cannot always function thinking like that because oh, this person did me wrong. So everybody, you can't think like that. That arrests your development as a person. You can't think like that.
yep,
You know.
yep.
So as far as Brandy, to answer, you welcome to come over whenever you want. Even if you Randy come in a video like, oh, this is interesting, can I get on? It's always a space for you on my show. That's no problem at all. Now, the first thing I need to ask you is what's your availability? Because I can lock you into because my schedule's always pre-planned. All my shows are made days in advance.
I'm pretty busy. Okay, before I hit that part, I'm gonna
Sure.
say this real quick because
Sure.
the subject matter was rejection, when men. I don't know if you heard about the things that are going on, or that man that went to his trunk of his car and got the gun because the group of ladies was sitting down and they didn't receive to him. He tried to hit on them. They was like, "Yeah, we good." He got upset, got going on, phoned them, then went to the car and I've seen things like that happen just with women in general. And then I can say that I have seen some unbecoming traits of that type of mentality. And I was like, this is something. This needs to be talked about because this is not okay. And I always think it starts from the home of how you
It
how you
does.
teach somebody growing up how to handle. You know what I mean? Because this doesn't happen overnight. This is somebody that has problems and they just don't know how to. They've been rejected so many times. It just that, but that is extreme when you get violent or you just
Yeah,
become what's the fine line that you cross when you realize you're harassing a woman when a person says no. It doesn't always have to get physical, even when it's just verbally or how you treat or approach or speak to someone. If you said no, you know what I mean, there's things that need to be talked about. So that's why I said
I
that. But
agree.
to get to the other question, I am
Hmm.
a busy person. We just started our production, Real Wise Productions, radio and Real Wise Production, and we're and then we have our own individual shows, and then we have stuff that we're responsible for, and then I also host in different rooms and I have haps. So answering that, I still would be available. You would have to give me a time, and then I would see, because I do interviews and stuff too, and we would just exchange. You know what I mean? Hit each
Yeah,
other up, exchange
sure.
that, and lock it in.
Okay,
So
I
that's
think
how I
this
like
will
to
be
go
an
about
easier question that'll lock into are you a morning or evening person?
it. I'm a morning person. I love waking up in the
So
morning.
catch you around this time is probably ideal, right?
Yeah, yes, yeah. Well, it could go either way because I might be in an interview. You never know, but first, you can catch me all day, but I am a morning person if that's when you would like to,
I'm gonna
you
get
know.
you early afternoon because technically you 2 hours ahead. I'm in Chicago, so it's 2:50. Where you at is 12:50. So I'm gonna have to catch you around 1 o'clock my time, which is 11 o'clock your time. So we'll
Okay,
stick between that time frame and what's today. If Tuesdays work for you, I can get you every Tuesday if that works for you.
okay. I'll keep that
If
in
not
mind.
Wednesday, because Wednesdays are a women day on my show. Like we do the first show because I have two shows on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So the first show is always women on Wednesdays. So if Tuesday or Wednesday you want to get on. Also, Gabrielle, my guest, she's transitioning to pretty much my permanent female guest host. She's a mom, so she's busy too. But if you want to get on with Gabrielle's awesome. You might have met her before. She's into the card readings and stuff like that, and all that type of stuff. You may have seen on her before, but I love Gabrielle to death. But if you want to get on with her and help host her, I usually what I do is when because I consider renting time out to people. When I rent time out to somebody, I don't speak much. I just do all the production and behind the scenes stuff. I keep y'all on cue or let y'all know if y'all going too long on topics to switch or whatever. I just do a lot of behind the scenes and mediate basically. When somebody like when Gabby's on here, I barely talk. I just ask her questions and do all the like keep up with the comments, just production based stuff. But
Right.
so yeah, that works perfect if because I've been trying to add more early evening content. I'm glad I did this. I'm not even gonna lie, Brandon. This was impulsive and completely like impromptu because most of my shows are in the evening or nighttime. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I did because I wouldn't have caught you probably if I did. So I
That's
was like, let me
crazy.
just randomly
Mine
get on
was
here.
too. I hopped
Oh,
on
was
just off the jump, and I was like, let me go see. Maybe I should host some, do something quick. And then I saw you. I was like, I'm gonna go see what he's doing.
yeah, I'm glad because I honestly didn't want to be on here by myself. Like I'm very selective who I like to get on because I'm a very like solution oriented person. And if you the type of person that just want to argue in circles, I don't like that. So
Right.
like certain people I won't get on with or I won't allow to get on. But when I see cool people, I'll let them get on. It's certain people. Pretty much everybody that's been on my show so far, I'll let get on. Pretty much people that haven't, you got to go through a trial period, and now that makes you ain't great because I have a brand to protect. Like a lot of people don't know, I'm a brand person. I have literally a brand that all this is connected to my brand that I created myself, and it's a lot on live people that watch me all the time from WWE and other companies. I get watched, so it's certain stuff I want. People want me to go deep about politics, and I just can't. You know what I mean? Nor
Yeah.
do you deserve to know what I know about politics. You're not in my inner circle, so I don't tell people. You know what I mean? Like you don't deserve to know what I think. But yeah, I love to have you on here. Whatever. Actually, at 6 tonight, which is 4 your time, we're coming back with the other show, and it's similar to what you just said about the rejection. So if you want to hop on that, you are more than welcome or whatever.
Yeah.
Because Tony's
Thank
probably gonna be on here with me and maybe Mr. Two Extra, but you welcome to hop on and have female. I'm telling you, like we try to have with these topics, we try to have balance of male and female, but sometimes females just aren't available. But if you want to come back today, you can talk about what you're talking about tonight on that show at 4.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
That's something that's really been bothering me,
sure.
really strongly. So I want to
Mhm.
address that.
Absolutely. Like that's something and it's something that we need to talk about. A lot of our issues we don't get settled because we don't talk about it. Like everybody's shut down. Like when they feel like you're not hearing their point, and it's in gradient degrees. Some people are more stubborn than others and need more work than others. That's just life. But um, a lot of people just shut down. Mostly females. Some
Yeah.
males do too. When they feel like you're not listening to them, they'll shut down. And I always say, like, I open all smoke on my show as long as it's productive. And what I mean by that is if we got to scream and holler at each other for a while to get it out of our system, as long as we get back to being cool, no problem. And as long as they don't take up too much airtime. But everything not gonna always be sanitized. Like some stuff gonna be uncomfortable that you need to discuss to get it out of your system, so to speak. You got to dig deep into problems to get to the root of it to solve the problem. I've always been a thinker of that. And that's helped me get over a lot of mental problems and anxiety and stuff I faced in the past. That I'm pretty much clear headed at this point, but you have to get it out of your system. And us as minority people in general, specifically blacks, we're so reared into thinking it's okay to suppress problems, and it's not.
Right.
That's very destructive and unhealthy long term. You know what I mean? Like we just grew up in so much like I didn't realize how deep rape culture was in our community. Like I didn't even realize like I thought it was more isolated, but like the type of intern like family rape stuff, it's insane. They need
Yeah.
to be addressed. Like I can't I wouldn't because I would never think of like sexual assault on anybody, definitely not a family member, but nobody, like it's just I can't believe how much of an issue that is with black women. Like so many of them have been sexually assaulted that didn't say nothing about it because
That's very
it was taboo to address it. Go ahead though. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so
No,
sorry.
you could
I
go
was
ahead, go ahead.
agreeing like with their very with like a family member, and it's crazy because we tell kids like I was talking about this with a another teacher. Like we tell kids to what to be aware of. Don't talk to strangers. Don't this. No, actually, it was a room I was hosting on Quilt, and we're how to keep yourself, women and children safe, children, kids safety. We always talk about that and tell them how to keep themselves safe, but we don't talk about the safety they would need to look out for within their own home or within their own family, because we found out there's a really high rate, you know what I mean, highly. And I've heard a lot of stories, like you said, that's crazy, with especially within like the with black women, that they'll come out with these stories saying, "Oh, I was raped by this uncle, this person, that person," you know what I mean? And I think people have to start thinking about that too when it comes to their children. People be like, "Oh, I'll only keep my people with family," and unfortunately, you have to take a look at that too, because just because you love somebody, you don't think that they would do something like that. You got to keep a mindful, thought about that.
Yeah.
People have sick people in their families with secrets, and that it's not
Yep.
just outside. It's not always outside. So it's not always a stranger.
I agree, and it don't have to always be, oh, let's get the torches and kill them, because I honestly think anybody that sexually assaults anybody is mentally unstable. So they need to be institutionalized. You know what I mean? Like, that's the solution. Not right away isn't always to kill somebody, to always harm them. I understand a knee jerk reaction as a father or maybe a boyfriend that you will sexually assault somebody. I get that. However, you know, preventing a crime with another crime is counterproductive. Like, I don't see any benefit. Like, they need to be instituted, because that's an illness. And a
Yeah,
lot, what you find out is when you peel back the layers, a lot of people that sexually assault people, guess what? They've been sexually assaulted. Look what type of sick intergenerational problems that you create.
yeah.
Because I know
You're
all my
right.
friends, a lot of my male friends are always quick to grab pistols. Oh man, we're gonna go kill. That's not the solution all the time. That's a good short term. Then what though? The
Right.
root of the problem needs to be addressed.
Yeah, that's definitely not it. Because then what do? You're gonna get yourself put away. It's like that is not.
Now you created a whole
No,
cycle of dysfunction.
right. Yeah,
Look how
that is not
far, Brandy. How old is your son?
14.
14. So you had your son at a pretty reasonable. You were at a pretty mature age for the most part when you had your child. You was in late 20s,
27.
right?
Uh-huh.
27. Oh yeah, that's a pretty decent age. So
Mhm.
how weird is it that when you don't have a baby at 21, people think that's abnormal? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, people look tripped off. I got the Why'd you wait so late?
Right. Right. Yeah.
At
Yeah.
27, I was like, I did.
That ain't late.
Yeah,
That I think that's about the perfect age. When you about 27, 28, that's perfect. I don't have children yet, and I'll be 30 soon. So that shows you that I'm really deliberate and take it, because I factor in
you
everything.
should. You should. 21, it should. That's you still living. You have
You still like barely. You ain't even
plenty.
finished college. You don't finish college till
Right.
like 23. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's way too.
that's a little
Too young.
soon. Yeah,
Yeah, I to be
and
honest, I had got married at 21, and
it
only
didn't
reason
work.
why I don't think I should have been, it wasn't even that. That's a whole nother show. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm
Sure.
still very good friends with my husband, like, but he was way older than me. But it was more of me, of about me, and like I should not be somebody's wife right now, because life is 20. I'm 21. You know what I mean? And it's like, what am I doing? Like, I need to grow, because even at 42, every time I have a birthday that comes around, I take that very seriously. I could, and I'm very in tune with being a woman. Like, I'm very tapped into my womanhood. I appreciate being a woman. Uh,
That's great
I
to hear.
feel
That's
a growth.
refreshing.
Yeah, I feel a growth. You know what I mean? Like some type of maturity. This thing that's supposed to be happening, that I know that's supposed to be happening, and growing, and becoming more of a woman still, and learning myself, and just things. I can't really explain it. You know what I mean?
I
So I
think I'm
know
here
that
with
that's
you.
very
I think I'm
important.
here.
Yeah, a young woman needs that space, that time, to grow into herself, to become that confident woman, or that people might say, like, well, you need to love yourself more. You know, I'm like, you need to be quiet. You know
Right.
what I mean? But that's why we need more women to talk to women about, like, especially our younger ones, how to pull it back in, and no, we're not thoughts, honey. We're not going to call ourselves that, okay?
No, that's a big
Yeah.
debate, Brandy, that I get into with a lot of females. That it's okay friends, women can call themselves a B word, but when a man do it, they get mad. Isn't
I
that
don't
isn't
do
that
it.
contradictory? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm not with it. I call their friends the B word. Like, yeah, I've never been into that. If you call me, I'm kind of like,
Don't do
yeah,
that.
that doesn't
Yeah,
sound good. Like, I'm
yeah.
not gonna call you on back. Like, I'm not with it.
Like they use it as a term of endearment. They don't think nothing wrong with it. It's just it's really insane. Like I've had women get mad and argue that only females can call me that. What? The word is the
Really,
same meaning no matter who said it. You know what I mean?
exactly.
That's like if I call you a wet, dirty dog, it don't matter who mouth is coming from. You call me a wet, dirty dog.
Right.
You probably about to get punched. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Right? We have a habit of adopting these words
yeah,
and turning them into a trend. Like
yeah,
what's that word I can't stand? Petty. I'm like, no, nobody likes a pet. I don't like petty people, so don't make that like just words. Thought like
yeah.
like these words. I get it. I get it. But then I'm like, no, because for the simple fact is, why can't we adopt words that enhance us, like, put a educated,
Positive
intelligent, put a
affirmation.
boss, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
stuff like that shows, a better example of you. And then you
You,
have the little ones, like if you're older, you don't take it so seriously, but if you have these little ones, sisters and children underneath you, they are taking that shit to heart, you know what I mean, when they are laughing and you think it's cute, they actually adopting this thought process, you
mm,
know what I mean, that it's okay to call themselves a little thought, a little whatever these new words they're using these days that
yeah,
don't make not very becoming. I
yeah.
refuse. I
That's
refuse.
why it's crazy that a lot of black girls know how to twerk before they know how to count money. Isn't that crazy?
You better stop lying. I tell you, it ain't crazy.
I be saying for like TikTok, it's cool. Anybody that got a platform that enjoy it, I'm not trying to discourage you from using it. However, it's a lot of like very sick stuff I done seen on TikTok. I done seen little girls with like two pieces on dancing. I'm like, you're like
Yeah,
eight. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? You're an 8-year-old girl.
right. You be like, "Where's her mama?" That's the first thing I say.
Like,
Where's
where
her
your
mama?
mom? Yes, like where your mama so I can take my belt off and whip her because
Right.
she's letting you. Like, where's your mom? But that's because of the age is
Yeah.
getting younger and younger for parent. Like when you allow standard for being a parent to be 20 or 21 years old, you constantly changing the maturity level of a woman. A woman is not fully mature, I was saying probably until like they get pretty close to your age. When they're like in their late 30s and they've experienced some stuff, they own maybe a house, they have some money put up, then you starting to be mature when you probably will say that you just became mature probably when you turn like 40 probably.
I started feeling, yeah, like and more like mentally, you know what I
Yeah,
mean, and what, like, it's a growth like inside of you as as a woman. You come into this yourself even more, and you're more aware, and you know what you want. You know
sure.
what I mean? And but yeah, most definitely. And then wherever you slacking off, because they ask that question, they still ask it like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? I always held that, for myself, like, where there's still things that I feel I need to be, or I should, have done. But
Yeah,
that's fine. At least I'm in a space where I know how to get there, and that it's gonna happen. But yeah, you really don't really, from my experience, because I know there's still more, but I'm be honest with the world right now. I truly am within myself as a woman. I know who I am, what I want. I know exactly how to go, how to get there. And you can ask me any question, you know what I mean? It comes to men, relationships, or whatever. And I completely will be comfortable with answering those questions, what wrongs that I have ever, you know what I mean? I feel like I could have did better at. I don't have any of those things, you know what I mean?
those
Because
hangups. Mm-hmm.
yeah, right? Because it stunts your growth,
Yeah,
you know?
that's true. Now, have your son started dating yet? Because he's around eighth freshman in high school, 14 years old. So he just started high school.
Not dating, but I see him more liking coming into his little his ways when he has okay, let me tell you something about this kid. First of all, he's still
Sure.
hung up on a kindergarten crush that he talks about. He can't remember what he had for dinner yesterday, but he can tell you about this first grade girl that broke his heart, and he still brings it up like she did me wrong, and he really feel it way. I'm like, dude, so she's in first grade. I was like,
She
I
didn't
said
even fully
what?
understand herself. Yeah.
Right? Is she at this age now? She still don't. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I talk to him a lot about it, because I, like I was telling you about that talk I want to have about rejection and all that stuff. It's important for parents, not to allow their kids to just pick up on these things or deal with them. If you know that this is the age, you have to have certain talks with them about like rejection, like not to take it to heart and feel like you are the problem, that you getting that low self esteem type. You know what I mean? Either you're gonna get angry at rejection, like some
Yeah,
people, or you're gonna feel lowly about yourself and just accept anything and any kind of treatment. So it's very vital that we teach our kids how to accept rejection, how to accept the things that they're not going to really like, those feelings they sit with, but how to handle them, and also how to treat other people, how to treat women, how to treat how a woman should be towards a man, how they should treat each other as friends, to be a good friend, and what's acceptable. Don't just sit back and like, you step in, you say, no, that's not okay, and that's a teaching moment. So I take
it
that
is.
very seriously when it comes to the youth. And
Absolutely. And like what you just said is very vital with, because you're in your son's life while he had that very what he considered a traumatic experience. Imagine how much worse it would have been if you didn't have a healthy relationship with your son. Because
yeah,
me, you're talking to a person. Me and my mom had a very terse and very unproductive relationship. Me and my mom to this day, we still don't get along. We don't know why. Like I've tried to work things out. My mom is just her. You know what I mean? She just her. Like sometimes you can't. You have to. I'm almost 30 years old. My mom is in her mid 50s. You have to come to a point where you have to stop making people want to do their job and they just have to do their job, so to speak. Like I don't even dislike her. It's just I'm over it. You know what I mean? Like my mom wasn't really there to help me process female emotions. With that said, though, I have a lot of internal strength where I don't take out my lack of non-existent relationship with my mom or other women I've dated. I've treated every woman I've dated great. Like I'll automatically like to the point where they thought I was soft. Why I had to give them a reality check that I was not hit them, but I just had to make it clear that I'm all man. Just because I give you balance don't mean I'm not a man. I just don't believe in stepping on a woman's balanced authority unnecessarily. I speak up when I need to, but um, a lot of women unfortunately internalize that as softness. You know what I mean? They think when you not overly aggressive or you don't yell at me like my dad or ex boyfriend, they view that as a weakness. Unfortunatally, but
yeah, that's
then
what
you got to
everybody's
remind them.
perception. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
it's just I've been lucky enough where it hasn't affected any of my dating or whatever. But I also understand the value of having a positive relationship with your mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Specifically if you black. Like cause that's you predisposed to not having one. You know what I mean? Like not having you know, you kind of grow up almost like your mom's son and her husband. If she's not married, who you think if you got a son, he's the head of the house, right? Pretty much, or you pretty much molded him to okay. If mom's not here, what you gonna do? Are you gonna take? You gotta know how to take care of the house. You got to know how to defend your other siblings if you have them. That's just part of that's the reality of growing up being black. You grow up faster than other people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
you're your mom's rock a lot of the times.
Yeah.
So
And
but that's
that's
good that
not.
you and your son has a healthy
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. That sucks because children need their childhood. That is very important.
Yeah.
And so we got to do something to change that. Fortunately for me, I don't. In this time of age, that this age of time that we're in, that sounded right.
Yeah.
I'm aware. You know what I mean. And so, like, even though his dad lives in another, state, but I have that support. You know what I mean. But also that mentality not to ever what I'm teaching him, he's going to have to know anyway as a person, as a man, as a human being. Because I can never teach him how to be a man because that's his
Hmm.
cause. I'm not a man. Uh, so I don't ever like lean on him for anything like that. To me, that's weird. I don't know, but yeah, I just I allow him to be a kid and grow and enjoy this time, and so he can learn. And I had my mom, rest in peace. She was my world,
Hmm.
and then my father, that was my world too. So I think that's where I get my personality from,
Your
my
dad.
sense of humor. Yeah, because
Yeah,
he was always
that's
funny.
good.
So yeah,
Being a black man, you have to filter a life through humor, or you'll go crazy if you don't. I've
yeah,
learned to. I'm very humorous. Like anybody, I could go from being super serious to cracking a joke in like a minute. I'm just like that. Like I'm very because I view like I've always lived off the concept that you got to laugh to keep from crying type thing. Like being black is it's a challenge. Like, and I'm past the point of explaining myself to people that don't get it. If you're not black, I'm not going to explain anything to you. You know what I mean? Because you don't live what I live. You don't expect. I'm not mad at you for it. It's just I don't feel the need to explain it to you. It's just one of those things you got to live to get. If at this point in 2021, I'm explaining to you why it's so much harder being a black man over anybody, like even our women. do better than us. And it's not their fault. It's just the way that the cards failed and the way the system it was designed that way. And I'm not mad at them. It's me. It's my job to balance them out or help them. Help us each other out. But if I have to explain to you in 2021 why you have an advantage on me, you honestly don't even deserve to talk to me.
Yeah.
Like
You ain't
literally,
around.
like just look, like
Right.
60% of prisons are people of color, 51% of that are black men. So I don't have to explain. I don't feel the need to explain that to you. Either you get it or you don't. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
just now I have to ask you a very crucial question as a parent, and this is something I ask everybody, especially with you having a black male son. What are your views on all this? Children now, Magic Johnson, Dwayne Wade, and others are examples of this. Can literally choose their gender before they fully go through puberty. What do you? How do you view that as a black mother? I think it's insane, but I don't have children, so I ask people that are parents these questions.
I think it. I think. I think that. Where do I even start? For the simple fact that these are children, right? And
Yeah,
they're they go through so many things and decisions and choices and thought, processes. They always want to be a doctor when they was little, and then they grew up. You know what I mean? I want to be this. I want to do that, and they see this world. You know what I mean? And they just, they're gonna change their mind so many times, and then already with what the just the simple fact that they are children, and if you have to actually push an agenda, something onto them that wasn't already there, that's yeah, like you what is that about? It's not healthy. To each his
yeah.
own. You know what I mean? When you if you choose in your life, you want to do that or be, that's your choice. You know what I mean? I have friends that, you know what I mean, transition and did all kinds of stuff. That's fine. That's them. That's their person. I still love them for who they are. You know what I mean? But when you start messing with children, and you feel the need to 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 I don't even know what to say.
Now I
I
feel
can't find the
I feel
words.
you without. See, this is something in African culture that we can do. I can hear you without you really act really. I already feel what you're saying with how it's just
It's not
as
right.
a parent, it's a challenge having to raise your child to explain. First of all, they already going through a lot of emotions. When you go through puberty, you already juggling a bunch. You don't know what to do with all the emotions that you're being hit with at once. Now you add an extra layer and extra stress to them by giving them the choice to allegedly choose from more than two genders. Like
Right.
that's heavy. That's too like I just want to be clear. I don't have no problem with LGBT people. You got the right to do whatever you want. I honestly don't put that much thought into it because they don't have nothing to do with me. I'm not part of that community. I don't hate them, but I don't stress. I don't wake up thinking about, oh, I'm gonna do this for those people. Like I got my own issues as a man, and then most importantly as a black man. But it's just I don't see why so much focus. Like they put more focus on it than it needs to. And what I mean by that is they say they want us to respect them, but they can't even give us a coherent map of what you want us what you want to be called or addressed as. So when you make a process that complicated, I already shut my brain off because it's too much for me to think about when I got too much other stuff to think about. So telling a
Yeah.
child about anything about sex before the age of 18 to me is too much.
Hmm. It's too
They're
much. Yeah.
not there yet where they even need to they need to be focused on developing as whatever their gender is first.
Yeah.
And second, their education. Like they're not there. That's too much. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
still trying to process
Something.
being a child. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just that's too much. So
That's adding something way
yeah,
inappropriate at that time on them, when they have things that are going to already occur, things that they should be allowed to be to allowed to enjoy or discover as
yeah.
themselves, and to truly know what they want, who they are. And if that's what they would ever want, then that's what they would want. But when you putting it there, you know what I mean, right
When
there,
you
and
forcing it,
distracting the natural, yeah, like you're talking agenda. Now, if your child
yeah.
comes to you with these things, then of course address it. But if you're just bringing, like, what's that about? And that's not even anything against, like I said, the of course not
LGBT.
LGBT, yeah, at all whatsoever. And then you had said something about you know, uh it's kind of hard because they're not really explaining what it is that they want or whatever.
Yeah,
I can understand that, but I think also too, it's who it's probably there's a well better versed person. Like I have a friend, Audrey. She's transitioning, but I did a few shows with her. You know, and she's very informative. You know what I mean, and very well spoken and very educated and able to educate somebody in that. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
of getting it across to you. You know, she's explained so much to me. You know what I mean, that I might have had some ignorance in that I find refreshing and that I appreciate. You know what I mean? Because
sure,
my goal is never to disrespect, and I do want to help as much as I can. You know, as human being, have dealings with you. How you know
accommodate.
respectfully, yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean. So if you can explain that to me and help me to understand, then I'm down. But if you can't, then you can't really get frustrated or mad. You know what I mean? That this is not how it's always been. We have to start thinking about that with you know, with our lives and how we all choose to live our lifestyles. We all have things about us, and we have to be willing to have some tolerance with one another and some
absolutely.
patience. You know what I mean? To understand that, you know, just to have some understanding and at least try
Because
to understand one another.
absolutely, I think like, and a lot of the LGBT's anger is misdirected. Like, you get mad at black people. Like, if anybody understands you, black people understand you. Like, we're like the most open. Like, we literally
Yeah,
allow people to come in and usurp the civil rights bill, which was created for black people. So it's a term that a lot of people don't. A lot of whites either are too ignorant to understand, or non-black people in general, not just whites. They're too ignorant to understand, or B, they don't want to understand, which is even worse. It's something called affirmative action. It was created to rectify the wrongdoings of the government that imposed overbearing policies on the other people or put people behind. That's the purpose of it. It used to be called corrective action. We call it now, it's a political hot button topic called affirmative action. The purpose of it is to make up for what you took from people that didn't deserve nothing being taken from them. So I asked non-black people, specifically white people, white women now benefit from government policies and affirmative action more than anybody. We literally allowed them to come into that. Does that sound like a group of people that are hate driven? We literally let gays, immigrants, white women, like all these alleged minority groups of people come in and catch
exactly.
up to us, and they didn't deal
Right.
with the problems we had to do to get there. Like, it's
And
just
you have
this
to
type of
explain
thing
any
is
kind of
insane to me.
oppression. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, it's
Any
just like
kind
I
of
don't
oppression.
get when they think like that.
Yeah, we support. I feel for the most part, black people support all. Like we're not just like this is only for the blacks. You know what I mean? It's like if you're
Yeah,
oppressed, then get on over here. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And let's do this together. You know what I mean? We're very open to that. I mean, of
Black
course, you're gonna have
people,
some, like you said, we have
absolutely.
those set in their ways or whatever like
Mhm.
that. But for the majority, we're all about, you know what I mean, like coming together. And you would think we'd be the most angriest, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And these monsters they try to make us out to be these violent monsters. And I'm like, let's
yeah,
knock that off. Like, pay close attention, really. You would think though, but
yeah.
and yet we're not. You know what I
We the
mean?
big
That's
mamas
really
of the
what it feels
race.
like.
You know how
Right.
you got that big mama that feed anybody. Come on in, honey. We the big mamas. You know what I mean? And just to piggyback on what you just said about you think we'd be the angriest. This term is thrown around a lot. The angry black men, a lot. Some of the most peaceful people I see are black men that deal with stress. Like we have a way of dealing with stress that we honestly shouldn't be. We have a productive way of dealing with stress that most people won't comprehend. As opposed to you take a white guy that loses his fortune and wealth, he shoot himself. How many
Oh, I
black
believe
men
that. Take
shoot
your family
themselves?
out and everything.
Yeah, they go nuts and snap and shoot up every black man. Just like the only time you ever see black men, because I've been to divorce courts before, or domestic courts in general. The only time you ever see a black man acting out is at divorce court or in specifically child support court. If you want to see a broken black man, go to a
Yeah.
child support court and you tell him you're taking his kids away. I done seen black men in the floor crying because they couldn't get their kids back. So you telling me who's a better black parent than a black man, or black people in general? But who's a more proud? Oh, even when we broken, if you really want to see just a black man that you don't want to be around to upset, go to a child support court and the judge say he can't see his kid no more. I've seen grown men crying in the floor because of that.
Yeah. That's why I'm so for like women, black women, like really taking ownership and not going there when you are upset or angry
Yeah,
and doing those, when you know you're a good dad, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And that's appalling to me. It really, it does. It bothers me. It pisses me off. It's very unbecoming and it shouldn't
yeah,
happen because that's just because sometimes we have to look at it. We have something that possibly another woman don't, that child don't, the dad don't even want them. They denied it before it even hit the egg.
yeah,
The egg. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
yo, stuff like that. And it's like, do you have somebody that's wanting and love their children? And this is what you're gonna do.
And
You
that's
know?
not to say that black men don't need to do better because it's black. I walk around and I get into almost fist fights because I consider it very juvenile and because I'm a very communal person, so I consider negligence and lack of fatherhood responsibilities is destructive to communities. So I think I
Exactly.
almost got into fist fights with guys I don't even want you around me if you're this type of person. I make it clear it's no space for you. Even all my friends that have children are responsible. They know I'll tune them up. Let's just say that it'll be a problem if you're around me and you're a negligent parent. But
Yeah.
uh, my close friends don't really have children. But any male that I allow in my space must be respectful and responsible. I don't even allow people around me that's not. But I hear black men bragging about impregnating people and oh well, you know what I mean? Like she shouldn't let me have sex with her. And I'm thinking like you just lost all your respect as a man when I hear you say something like that. I don't even view you as a man. You're a boy to
Grown
me when you
man.
think like that. It's
Right.
allegedly grown men. Yeah, yeah, that think
Right.
like so it's just that's completely nonsensical thinking. I've had to check my dad a couple because I had a little brother, and I was the youngest. I would have had 8. My brother was killed when he was 16. I was the youngest of 7 children for 15 years until I found out that I had a stepbrother out of the blue that I didn't find out till he was 3 years old. He's 13 now. He just made 13 in May. When I tell you, I'm very protective of my little brother. And me and my dad almost got into fights because my dad is very stubborn. He's an Aries, so that's a whole nother headache to deal with in itself. But my dad is so stubborn that I had to check my dad a couple times, and I blatantly told him. And I usually don't do this, but I am very careful about safety, so I'll just show this. But also, I have multiple licenses, and don't do this unless you don't. I am a very gun heavy person. I'm a very gun. This is a 9mm Glock. I do not play games with my safety. It's not loaded, of course. There's no bullets in it, but I don't joke around. So I didn't told my dad in no uncertain terms, if you ever allow my brother to do anything, because I heard that his brothers, who I don't get along with well, because they delinquents, but if I can help you, you can. But when you voluntarily want to be a delinquent, there's no space for you around me. Like when you want to ruin your life, that's on you. They don't got nothing to do with me.
Exactly.
His brothers was letting them steal from the store.
Mm.
And I told my dad, and you saw what I just put in that camera. I said, if we got to have to turn this conversation into something different, and I got to forcefully tell you to do it, it's just going to have to be what it's going to have to be. But my brother is not going to be a delinquent because you want to be lazy. I've made that very clear to my dad. Now, if he get the picture, it's his business. But I don't joke around when it comes to community because I know everything that's affecting our community right now, we allow it to happen. And I mean us as a race and not even I'm sorry, as us as a country, not even just black people. We allowed this to get this bad. And it's gonna have to be taken back by any means necessary. And this don't mean unnecessary, but I'm talking about pen and paper. If you got to go legal, do legal. But I'm also very realistic. I'm a realist. Nothing ever that we were given in this lifetime was given voluntarily. Everything was given by bloodshed and armed rebellion. That's just the way it got to get sometimes. Everything we've ever obtained as black people, the little that we have, was by armed rebellion. This country wouldn't exist without black people. For all the people that say go back to Africa, I don't even argue with them. I
I know
just
you're like, really?
refer you to documents. What's that?
You just kind of look at them like, really? Come
I just
on.
hey, whatever we need to do to get back equilibrium, I will the
Yeah.
law. I'm just gonna say that. I mean, it is what it is. I hate to be that way, but we have to be realistic about our situation.
Yeah. For
And
sure.
it's gonna have to be taken back over. What manhood is gonna have to be back for stuff. Like it's going to have to be very rigorous and very radical, because just like when you have cancer that spreads through your body, you have to have radical surgery to eradicate the cancer from spreading to you. So it's a radical issue. So it needs to be handled radically. So manhood is going to have to be taken back as force. My children will be armed, and color will be a non sequitur if you throw off our balance. I'm just going to make that very clear. I love my people. But some black people, I'm not even gonna lie, are gonna have to be put down because they just too far gone. You can't even talk to them anymore, or people in general. But uh, just to bring back some semblance to our central point that we started this conversation off with, all this Asian black hate stuff is all, first of all, put out there by the government. Because me and Brandy have just articulated that we don't see any direct semblance, and we from two major cities. She from San Diego, I'm from Chicago. It's Asians heavy in both of those. It's more Asians where she lived than me. But we have a Chinatown. Chinatowns in every major city. I don't see any of
Yeah,
this.
we have one. Yeah, we got one not that far. It's like really close where I am, and I'm like,
Wow. So
we
you
got Little
very,
Africa, a Little China, like they're all
yeah,
like kind of in a row, and it's
yeah.
like, where does this come from? you know,
All of
I
this,
laugh and talk with my friends, and she's like, "Yeah, well,
yeah.
in her accent, she's like, your eyebrow they bad. What happened?" I said, "I know. I'm so sorry." She's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Don't laugh. We have a good." She asked me about
Report.
my son. We talk about
Yeah.
our children. So I'm just like, when did this shit start? So I
A
just
lot of
laugh.
this is forced. And something we need to understand as people is when the shit hit the fan, which is very close to doing, because this country is going to fall. The country that we know as now, this version of America is going to fall in the next 5 years. All the signs are already there. The COVID pandemic was the last straw.
Yeah,
It is no coincidence that it's so many lockdowns. The lockdowns come before martial law every single time.
yeah,
History does not lie. Martial law is coming. By the next presidency, it'll be some semblance of martial law. I guarantee you it will be.
yeah. People aren't
Um,
paying attention because they distracted. Because
yep.
that's why they have all these different distractions going on. I'm like, I just tell people, I'm like, just pay close attention. Just
I,
pay
and
attention.
I, overused word that we hear all the time, Brandy, is woke. A lot of people that think they woke
I don't
is
even
really
like
sleep.
that word. Yeah,
It's
it's
such a
not woke.
negative comment. You're not woke like you think you were. If you was woke,
At
you wouldn't be
all.
having these silly conversations about stop Asian hate. Because it's not really what you think it is. A woke person will be very aware that that's not true. A
Right.
woke person will be arming themselves, getting ready for the get down. They will be
That's why
eating up.
being woke is like a lifestyle. Like this is change. You can tell someone being woke, everything changes. Your
Yeah,
vision, your eyes, your demeanor, the thing that you talk about, what you will talk about, what you don't talk about, and it's kind of
yeah,
uncomfortable.
it is.
Some part of you wish you wasn't.
Yeah, but
So
change is discomforting. It's designed to be.
yeah,
Because you won't grow. That's why working out, you sore afterwards. That's the challenge. Are you going to continue to work out or not? For you to get muscles, you have to tear up muscles so they can expand, so they can bleed and expand. That's how muscles work. But when it really hits the fan, I just hope people prepare. If you don't know how to farm, you better figure it out. If you don't have water, you better figure it out. Don't think they won't cut your water off. Don't
they
think
already
they won't
messing with
tamper with your electricity and your internet connection. They've done it several times, and I've tested it. I was in Las Vegas in April, Brandy, and prior to even when I left, it was all type of random Wi-Fi disconnections. I went
yeah,
to
that's what's
Vegas.
going on.
I was in Vegas for 4 days, 5 days, from Friday to Tuesday. It was a random Wi-Fi outing every single day at the same time, every single day. Now you could call something a coincidence, but when the Wi-Fi disconnects every day at 8 o'clock, I'm gonna need you to think a little more.
Yeah, yeah, most
The
definitely.
boogie is. I'm not trying to forecast gloom and doom, but I'm a realist. I know how this country functions.
Yes, be prepared. That's all you're just trying to tell
Just be
people.
prepared.
Just be prepared. Like Cali, we good for blackouts. You know what I mean? So I went
Yep.
out. You know what I mean? And I just got like, I'm not even gonna lie, I got some things that like even like a military, like things if you ever had to end up on the outside, like you
Yeah.
can survival, the water, the raincoats, the tent. I don't know if you ever seen on Amazon those tents they have, like they're little but they keep insulation inside and around.
Yeah.
I got some stuff. Okay,
I
I
need
got
to get one of
anything.
those. I don't even got that.
Yeah, I'll tell you something else that I got too, but I'll tell you off of here. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't play around. If people say that's my anxiety, then well be it. Then it's working because I see it. Don't take me have to look at Texas either to because if you saw that, that should really make people think like, yeah, you might want to get your shit together. you
Yeah.
know, it's like how many times what you gonna wait for? Like that when it happens, that's when it's too late. For preparation, there's nothing wrong with preparation. Don't have to run
Nope.
around in fear. Just know what you up against and what you're dealing with, and if you rely on it, one day they're gonna take it away from you for that simple fact.
Now, before we get too far, and I forget because we need a private place to communicate just stuff. Do you have a Twitter, Brandy?
Yes,
Okay, let me add
I'm
you
now getting used to using it. I had my account and then I just never like nurtured it, so now I'm starting to play with it.
because they don't have a DM private function on here, which really bothers me. But for now, I use people's Twitter to keep up. What's your Twitter?
It's so it's Brandy Singleton, but without the O N. It's just Brandy's, and then you stop at the T and 18,
Okay, Brandy Singleton 18.
but without the O N.
Okay, single
Single T.
18. Okay. Yeah, I see
Don't
you
forget the
got the
T.
little
Don't forget the T.
Brandy J Singleton, right? And then say Brandy Singlet 18. I got you. I see it on here because you got the pink stuff under your eyes. I see it. Yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and I just followed you or whatever. And now also just give me links to your radio, so I had to check out some of your radio stuff too, because we have to have a private place to converse. Some stuff I don't say on air. So,
Right.
um, but yeah, I mean, you we can sit here and argue all we want: black versus Asians, black versus white, white versus Asians. When they come in with that military and they say this is eminent domain, or they kick in your door and say get out here because I told you to, they they gonna look at all of us the same, and either you
Yep.
can defend
Always.
yourself or not.
True.
It don't matter, you know what I mean? They see a person. It don't matter what color you are,
Yeah.
because
Black and
what you
white is
have
not
to
gonna matter then.
no, it won't. In our constitution, our Pledge of Allegiance, it says to the republic. This is not a democracy. I don't know who lied to you and told you it was. Just because they have you thinking every 4 years when it comes to voting that it's a democracy. All you got to do is look at your Pledge of Allegiance. Look in the Constitution. I've read that thing several times. You can download it for free on Google.
Yes, I
I
read
don't.
it on my
I
show
have yet
before.
to find democracy on that in that Constitution. I'm sorry. What was that?
I said I've read that on my show before. I went down it slowly and I would stop and I'd be like, okay, did we get that part?
Yeah.
Give me a hint, you know. And I don't know if you know about that app because I got to get off here too. The boy looking at me like I'm hungry. But
Okay.
it's called Moxie. But it's called Moxie Democracy. But it's like an app where basically all the stuff that deals with you know the our laws, government, all that stuff. That's like they actually let you host a podcast. It has to be on that platform. So I have a podcast on there, but it's called Moxie Democracy. And then if you want to know anything that's going on, like with our country, like that's a like a very like that's a verified. It was in Forbes, verified. Facts. Factual
I'm
platform. And
definitely gonna check that out. We're gonna have to
yeah,
read
yeah.
that on air with some shows at some point. When we do some shows, I'm gonna
I'll
have to read.
send you my link too. Yeah.
Okay, please do. And I might as well get off here too because my stomach's starting to grumble. It's been 2 hours. So and I got another one at
No way.
6. I can't believe this has been such a thank you, Brent. This has been such a
Thank
great
you.
conversation with you. And like I said, you pretty much welcome to come on whenever you want at this point. We got another one coming up at 6, between 6 and 6:30. So as you see me go live, you more than welcome because we discussing manhood on that one. We're gonna talk about is it what was it again? I think it's about is it okay for your woman to make more money than you or something like that, or maybe that's either today or tomorrow. But we definitely got one coming up at 6. That's a man centric topic, but you welcome to. I'll be able to tell you right now. Give me 2 seconds because I got the schedule. Uh, okay, no, it's actually that's tomorrow. The one I just said. Today's topic is about how a traditional family is key into building wealth. We're gonna talk about that on the show. So you welcome to come on that one and tomorrow and talk about that. But thank y'all, Brandy. Go make sure y'all check out Brandy. What's your handle, Brandy? On Haps. What's your handle so people can follow you?
I don't remember. I don't. You can
I'll be
ask
able to
me
tell you.
anything else. We ask Haps. I don't remember. I don't even know it. I'm not gonna
I'll
lie.
be able to tell you in 1 second what your thing is. I gotta always keep a second apps open. It's at Brandy Singleton. That's what it is on here.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm so
Yeah.
horrible at
So
that.
thank y'all. Thank Brandy for being here. Air horns to everybody. Thank y'all for being here. And also a round of applause to Brandy. Thank you, Brandy, for being here.
Appreciate
We're gonna take a break now, eat, and then hopefully we'll have Brandy come back with us this evening and grace us with her very knowledgeable, feminine presence or whatever. So stay positive, Brandy, and thank you, thank you. I couldn't thank you enough, and I'm glad we finally got a chance to converse. And
Yeah,
yeah,
for
so
sure.
I'll see. Talk to you later, then.
All right, bye.
See ya. And for me, y'all, that's gonna wrap it up for me too. Thank you, Tony D. Thank you, Mr. Two Extra. I'm gonna have to get y'all on the next one later tonight. Please come back, the 6 o'clock show, y'all. And we're gonna chop it up and be adults again on tonight's topic because these topics are absolutely